The Louisiana State Penitentiary at Angola is one of America's most unusual prisons because it is, in some ways, a plantation. Once you pass through Angola's front gate, you can't help but feel that you've gone back in time to another South. It's the largest maximum security prison in the country. Right now, there are 6,300 prisoners. The majority of murderers, you have rapists, you have people who've committed assault, drug felonies. How long are you here for? Next 40 years? What was the charge? 4 counts? Roughly 75% of the prisoners are here serving life sentences without the possibility of parole. Louisiana has some of the toughest sentencing laws in the country, and these guys are not going home. For most of its history, Angola has been a fearsome place, but in recent years it's become relatively docile. People credit the warden, Burl Cain, who's this very unlikely character, of devising a way to get Angola under control.
I'm Burl Cain. I'm the warden of Louisiana State Penitentiary. I've been the warden here about 20.5 years.
When you got this job, what did you find when you came up here?
There was blood, there was stabbing, there was fighting, and it was totally out of control. It was every man for himself. I realized pretty quick in my career that moral people don't rape, pilfer, and steal. Moral people aren't criminals. And so the best thing I could do real quickly was to get this place as moral as I could, and it would curb the violence.
How do you impose morality on a population that is 3/4 murderers serving life sentences without the possibility of parole?
Well, the basic thing was they were hopeless. It was hopelessness. With the life sentence, there's no hope you're going to ever get out. And so the moral rehabilitation caused the hope. To learn to work is basic rehabilitation. Many of them never worked in their life. They just stole. The guy that's driving the $250,000 combine is an inmate making 20 cents an hour. That's meaningful work for them.
I've been here since 2008. I got a second-degree murder charge.
What's it like the first day when the prison comes to you and says, okay, now you're working on the farm?
Well, when I first came here, I see the kind of type of work here. I figured like this, I said, that work not going to be bad, you know. I love doing hard work, though.
You think these young guys like to work? They like to
No, them guys don't like to work at all.
Before the Civil War, Angola was a plantation. Today, there's a reasonable chance that some of the men working this farm are descendants of the slaves who once picked cotton here. Once a prison doctor clears an inmate for work, that prisoner's got a job, whether he likes it or not. Some of the prisoners get paid as little as 2 cents an hour. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm all right.
Got locked up July 25th, 1981.
What was the charge?
Second-degree murder.
Did you do it?
Nah.
No? No. But you're here.
I'm here.
Are you free to just go around the
whole penitentiary with me on Saturday? I love it.
So you've been here for more than 3 decades. How has Angola changed since you got here?
Ooh, Lord. Man, it done changed so much. It's just like from day to night, you know?
Louisiana's harsh sentencing laws mean that most prisoners are here for life, which means that Burl Cain had to devise a new system to keep prisoners on the straight and narrow. One of the ways he did this was to Christianize the prison. There are churches everywhere, services are run every day. Hundreds of inmates are now trained as ministers. One of the Christian groups in Angola is called Malachi Dads. These are a group of inmates, Christian inmates, who are training other inmates on how to be fathers to their children who are outside the prison.
My name is Ron Hicks, and I've been incarcerated 25 years. I'm serving life sentence for second-degree murder.
My name is Darrell Waters. I'm from Gibson, Louisiana, and I was sentenced to second-degree murder in 1992.
My name is George Gillum. I am from New Orleans. I am currently serving a life sentence for second-degree murder. We discovered in 2006 that a child of an incarcerated father had a 70% likelihood to come to prison. And so we discovered those statistics, and God gave us favor, and that became Malachi Dads. Just because you're locked up in prison, that does not give you the right to not still be a father. Healthy people who have a heart that's healed, who have a soul that's whole, they want to help, they want to give back, and that's what we do every day.
Why do you think violence has come down in Angola?
When Warden Kane came on the scene, what he did was open up the door of opportunity. He was able to see, if I can get these guys to start coming after success, because what success do, it changed the way you think. If I can achieve something, I feel better about myself.
The spread of Christianity inside the prison has brought down the violence rate to a huge degree. But it's also a troubling issue. I mean, what if you're a member of another religion? What if you don't want religion? Can you survive and flourish in the system that Burl Cain has created?
It's not about religion to get you to go to God right immediately and all that kind of thing. It's not that. It's about changing yourself inside so you're a different human being. The inmates are going to congregate in a group. It can be positive or negative. But I want to create a group they can belong to that's going to be positive, that I have some semblance of control of from a distance. We have now a different kind of gang for God. And it can be any religion. We don't care.
What do you say to people who say that you're using religion as a form of social control?
I'm not using religion, except all I want is the morality in religion, and I can get morality quicker out of religion than I can anywhere else. All I'm seeking is moral rehabilitation.
I've gotten to know some of the Malachi dads pretty well, and I would say this: you would never know that these were murderers.
I got involved with a conflict with a guy, and I have to live with that mistake that I made in my life when I was 19 years old. 2 young lives, both destroyed because of immaturity, really.
If you were ever to get out, A, are you equipped for the outside world? And B, do you think you would ever hurt anyone again?
That man or that personality is dead and gone. That person don't even exist anymore in this world. It was a moment in time that something happened and I reacted in an immature way. But God is redeeming. And this country is founded upon the redemptive process. That life that once took a life can save hundreds of lives.
Burl Cain faced a difficult situation in the 1990s. Federal government cut prisoner education funds, so he needed to do something with these prisoners. He brought in a seminary, and he also started what has turned out to be one of Louisiana's largest vocational institutes. We're in the automotive tech shop where they train a lot of the reentry inmates. These are guys who are going to get out in 5 or 10 years, where they train them in mechanics.
My name is John Sheehan. I've been over the automotive technology school since June 2011.
And you're an ASC certified?
I'm a master ASC certified technician.
And you supervise the whole operation?
I supervise the whole operation. These men that are sitting here at the table and working on this car, they are going home. And if I can help change their lives to where they're going to be a father, they're going to be a husband, they're going to be a better son to their mother, then I'm giving back to society. And I feel good about that.
And I should point out, because people don't automatically assume this, that you're not a state employee.
No, sir, I'm not a state employee. I forgot to tell you that. I'm going on 29 years come November of a life sentence inside Louisiana State Penitentiary.
You've been here for 29 years?
Been here for 29 years.
And you're in for what crime?
I'm in for second-degree murder.
Second-degree murder.
First offender.
Lifetime without the possibility
life
of parole.
Without probation, or parole.
Life without parole. And who did you kill? Who was the murder victim?
My wife.
That was your wife.
My first wife. Yeah.
Do you feel like you've been through a process of redemption?
There's nothing I can ever do to go back and change what happened where I wish I could, but by changing my life to the better is to help these young men to change their lives. We probably have about $300,000 or better worth of equipment and tools inside of this shop right here.
Right. And so, I mean, the interesting thing here to me, as an outsider, is the idea that maximum security prison has not only a ball-peen hammer, not only these tools accessible, but prisoners are also in charge of monitoring the tools. I have to think that's an unusual
it definitely is.
situation. There's something so odd and infuriating about a system in which proper vocational education and mentoring and life skills education and anger management education and substance abuse and mental health, where all of this is done after they've committed violent crimes or after they've committed felonies. I think one of the things that just strikes you in a place like this, more than almost anything else, is that we have everything reversed.
You've been a criminal, but you get old enough and you get wise enough that it's really not what you're about anymore. We had to have a victim to send them here and get them prepared to go back out in society and be successful. God help us. Somebody's got to be hurt, murdered, killed before we'll recognize the problem we have and go back and fix it. But in corrections, we didn't do it for so long because we all believed that we were just supposed to lock them up. We forgot corrections means correct deviant behavior.
There's a hypocrisy in the way we talk about these problems in America. We tend to focus on what do the police do wrong? What are the prisons doing wrong? But the prisons and the police are doing what we and our legislators want them to do. Angola is just the receiving end of the problem. Angola is so bucolic that sometimes you can forget that this is a maximum security prison where Burl Cain uses solitary confinement as a form of control and punishment. And of course you can forget that this is the home of Louisiana's death row. Burl Cain supervises death row just the way he supervises everything else in this prison.
After we had the last meal with Gerald Bordelon, the last person executed, he wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So he wanted just peanut butter, cream, and he wanted apple jelly. So we bought him what he wanted, and we had the last meal with him. But anyway, I picked the jelly up and the peanut butter, and here it is.
May I?
Sure. He and I both ate 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches each. And we said the blessing over the meal. He was a Christian guy, but he wanted to be executed because he had done a horrendous, horrible crime. And he said if he got away from me, he was going to do it again. But he was adamant. It was almost like suicide. This business is very, very complex, and to maintain your own sanity, you have to navigate through both sides of it and just keep the keys and carry out the law and just truck it on.
We've gone through a long period in America where it's all about punishment and it's all about mandatory life. But if you come here, you actually meet these people and you realize, or you at least have the inkling of a feeling that maybe there's something to the idea that the people they were when they killed other people, those people are gone, and that something new is taken root. When you look at the problem of mandatory sentencing, not through the eyes of defense attorneys or liberal prison reformers, but from the warden of Louisiana State Penitentiary, and he says, this system is absurd, you really begin to see the maddening aspect of this problem.